So pause if you need to, go and grab yourself a strap, rearrange things if you need to get a chair or a bench involved, and then we'll get started. So let's start. Warming up the shoulders, always a great place to start. And you're going to take a hold of your belt or strap or whatever you're using. You're going to inhale, lift the arms up. Take the arms a little bit back, nothing too strenuous just yet, and then exhale, just bring it down. So we want to be feet hip distance apart, really pressing down through the heels, paying attention to what's happening in your pelvis as you lift up. So we want to ensure that we're not lifting up and then arching our back, none of that. And we also don't want to flare our ribs, so no chicken ribs. We want to keep those ribs knitted in, which means that our core's switched on. So inhale, lift up. Nice. And then exhale, take it down. And just a couple more like that before we begin to take it a little further. Inhale. And then exhale. Nice. One more like that. In. And out. And try to relax the shoulders as much as you can. So let's lift up. Inhale. And on the exhale, take a little lean over to your right side. So a little lateral flexion. Inhale, stand tall. And then exhale, little lateral flexion to the other side. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, over. Beautiful. In. And out. Okay, so this time we're going to hold it. So we're going to come over and just gently press down with that bottom hand. So it becomes a little bit more intense for that top arm. And then we want to try to rotate our top shoulder back, so that we get a little bit more into the heart. Open that up. And then let's inhale, lift up. Oh, a strong one. And exhale, take it over to the other side. So heels are still grounding. Really reaching with that top arm. There's a little gentle passive pull with that bottom hand. Nothing too serious. Rotate the heart towards the sky. So feel that stretch into the armpit. And then lift up. Take an inhale. And exhale, release it down. Nice. Just roll the shoulders, already getting warm for me. So the next, we're going to sort of explore our range of motion with our shoulders now. So I encourage you to take the strap quite wide. So we're going to inhale, lift up, and then exhale, take the arms back. Now I'm letting my hands slide along so that I can open up. And I can feel that all across the pecs as well as the shoulders. So it's opening the chest as well. So it's quite wide for me. My shoulders aren't all that open. So inhale, lift it up. And then exhale, take it back. And once we've done a couple of these each way, you might feel that you've begun to open up a little bit and that you can walk the hands in. Inhale and exhale. But what we're doing is making sure that those arms are straight and that we're not folding ourselves to get through. So there's none of that happening. So inhale, lift up, and exhale over. Now, for those of you that want it, I don't know if I can, so we'll see what happens. Walk the hands in a little bit closer, and then have another go. Not too far. Inhale, exhale. Oh, yeah, we've found a bit of space. That's nice. Inhale, exhale. I still see my shoulders probably lifting up a little bit too high as I do that, but that's okay. Inhale, I'm aware of it. Exhale, take it back. Beautiful. Inhale, lift up. And then exhale over. Nice. So let's sweep that strap around behind you. And bring the hands close together on the belt. We're going to take the feet hip distance apart and inhale, lift the heart, lift the gaze. And on the exhale, fold, big bend in the knees and take the arms overhead. So my hands have already had to come apart a little bit here. And we're trying to put the hands all the way over. It's a big, really generous bend in the knees here. So we're just giving the body a chance to open up. And see if you can slide the scapula towards each other. A little squeeze to the rhomboids to further open up across the chest. Looking back between the legs so the neck is nice and long. And then soften. Take the arms over a little more if you can. And breathe. Deep breath in. Long breath out. And another one here, in and out. Great. So firm up through the feet, press into the heels and slowly roll up. When you get to the top, shoulders roll down and back. So that's a strong one. Okay, for our next one, our next little stretch, take the strap into your right hand. You're going to lift the right arm up and you're going to bend from the elbow. And to begin with, just take a hold of that elbow and we're just going to take a little lean. So we've got a hold of the strap. We don't need the strap just yet, but we're pressing down through the heels, reaching up with that right elbow, getting nice and long through the right side. So from when we've got tight shoulders, that leads to tight necks as well. And lateral flexion is a good cure for those tight neck, shoulders. Often we treat our issues upstream or downstream from the actual point of pain. Now let's inhale, lift up. And then you're going to sweep that left hand around and we're going to find a little bind. So for some of you, you might be able to bring the fingertips all the way together. You usually can, but I'm quite tight today, so it's not happening for me. And we've got one hand under and one hand up. Now this arm that's up is trying to push my head forward, so I'm really needing to press back into that forearm. Now this might be enough, it's quite strong. Or we can take the right foot forward and just step the left foot back. So this is a yoga pose. We're going to come into a pyramid pose. It's quite a short stance, but our back foot is slightly going to angle in towards the front corner of our mat. And so from here, we're going to come up nice and tall, find that gentle back bend, open up the front body. And on the exhale, come down to a flat back. And then if that's okay, you can stay here. If you've got a little bit more juice in the tank, we haven't warmed up those hamstrings yet. We'll get a little bit of a stretch into the hamstring, a little opening into the lower back. You want to draw your belly in and up. And that's going to help to support the spine. And then press into the feet. Come on up. And then unravel. Release it down. Just take a moment. Just notice how that right side of the neck and right shoulder feel. Might even take it for a little bit of a spin. Oh, that feels nice. Feel like I've created a little bit of space there. Beautiful. Okay, other side. So strap, especially the buckle or anything hard, it's going to go into the hand so it doesn't whack you in the head. Lift up that left arm, bend from the elbow, and then just take a hold of that elbow with your right hand. So again, we want to try and stand up tall, trying not to flare those ribs. We're trying not to arch our back, trying to keep neutral pelvis, neutral spine. And then just taking a little bend over towards that right side. And then just relax. So we're feeling the body, the tension in that side body, and allowing it a little chance to open up. If we want to help that along, we can breathe in to that left side ribs and create a little space there. Feel the intercostals, the little muscles in between the ribs. And keep finding that bend. Yeah, great. Then come on up. Sweep that right arm around, and once again you're going to grab a hold of the strap and walk the hand up the back just to wherever is comfortable for you. And then left foot goes forward, right foot goes back, and the right foot is going to angle slightly off towards the center of the room. So we're going to come up nice and tall, knit those ribs in, take an inhale, and then on the exhale we're going to fold down to a nice flat back. So we really want to reach forward with the crown of the head. We want a little micro bend in behind that front knee. And then if you want to take it a little deeper, you can. and just to whatever feels good for your body. And this one can be a little bit of a balance as well, so you might want to focus your eyes. And take another breath. And firm up through the feet. Slowly lift on up. Always want to engage the abs as we do that. And then exhale, release it. Once again, just feel. See what's happened. See if you created a bit more space. See if it's a little bit warmer than it was. And quite actually physically warmer. As well as just more open. Okay, so this is a stronger variation. So I'm taking my strap and I'm wrapping it around my bar. Now you can do that around a door handle or a balustrade or something like that. It's a good alternative to that. And we're going to take both straps into the right arm. And we're going to lift up. I'm going to take that arm behind you. So we want to take a little lean forward. So I wish I could demonstrate this with a greater bend here, but unfortunately that's just not what happens in my shoulders. So we want to bring our chest forward as far as we can for the shoulder, as open as we can, and maybe just a little lean forward. Yeah. So what we're trying to do is take this elbow further back behind us, and some of you at home will be able to do it much fuller variation than me, but that's all cool. So I'm feeling that getting quite warm. Nice. And then we're going to come on out of it. Just turn towards the bar, release the shoulder down. Oh, so warm down the arm, it's awesome. And then walk away from the bar and just reach the arm back and then turn away. So we're trying to turn ourselves towards the left side. So we really draw that right arm back behind you. And I'm really giving my weight into that band and leaning forward. And we're trying to soften off the muscles around the front of the shoulder and into the pec. These are all muscles of the shoulder. All muscles that help us with that movement. Lovely. And then come on out of it. Once again, just notice how it feels. Notice, I feel even physically, I think it's even dropped, which is beautiful. So let's try that on the other side. So you're taking the strap into your left arm, and you're going to turn around and see if you can take that elbow back behind you. So we're opening up the front of the chest. See if we can slide that elbow back behind to really open up the front into the armpit. If we can encourage the back to release and to slide down. And then just give it a little bit of time. But keep that elbow up towards the sky. Don't let it flare out to the side. And this overhead stuff is so important. It's when we're reaching for something at the supermarket and we end up putting our shoulder out, or we're reaching back for something in the handbag or something in the back seat of the car. And that's when we do ourselves an injury because of tightness in these areas. All right, come on out. Oh, so warm, so beautiful. So this time we walk away from our anchor point, grab a hold of the strap, and we're just going to turn the body the other way. So we're really opening up across the front of the chest, but also getting into those neck muscles, which obviously get quite tight when we've got tight shoulders. Now this is such a simple stretch, but it feels so good. All right, a couple more here. And then release it. Nice. Just feel how you feel. You can release the strap for the moment. Let's take a couple of circles. Oh my goodness, feels so nice. Found all this space. So a couple of circles with the arms and just feel what that feels like. Fantastic. And now we're going to do probably the biggest stretch, and then we'll leave it. So everything should be nice and warm in the shoulders. So you're going to take your elbows and you're going to place them on a bar, a bench, the back of a chair. If it's on a chair, make sure that it's something stable. I'm going to take the elbows down. Actually, I might do it on the bar because my chair isn't particularly stable. Might just have to angle you a little bit. So taking our elbows onto the bar, hands together in prayer, and then walk your way back, feet hip distance apart, and we're just sinking our chest in between our arms. And the hands can stay up here, or you can bend it back, and that's going to extend out the triceps a little more. I always find the triceps are a tricky one to stretch. And that's partly because of tightness in my shoulders. So often the stretches that I'm trying to aim into my triceps, all I'm doing is feeling them in the shoulders. So I want to sink the chest, take those hands back. Hopefully you found a little bit of space here. And again, just breathing into the muscles of the ribs. And also into the back of the body behind the heart. So let that upper thoracic spine find a bit of space. Beautiful. And then release it. Come on out. And just feel what it feels like with your amazing new open shoulders. Great. And then we're going to move down the body a little. So we're going to move into the legs. So I'm going to take my chair against my bench. And we're going to start with a lunge. So we're going to take our right foot onto our chair, or up and onto our bench, or up and onto our bar, and just sink the hips. So what I'm looking for here is to stretch into my hamstring, to give a little squeeze into my hip, but my back is really happy. My back's upright, very comfortable. And so just feeling into this. And just notice how it feels. Notice if there's any little areas in there that could do with a little more of a stretch. And then we're going to pull the hips back. We're going to take the foot all the way up and onto our surface. So if that's your chair, you're going to take the foot all the way onto the chair. And to start with, the toes are going to angle up towards the sky. And then we're just going to press the foot down. And then lift it up. And then flex it down and lift it up. So just getting a little ankle mobility. And then you're going to press that foot down. We're going to take a little fold forward. Now, if you're really tight in the hamstrings, this could be plenty. If there's a little bit more space for you, you can take the hands down onto your bench and really reach the crown of the head long. We want to try to keep a nice flat back. Then we're going to lift the foot up, and we're going to roll it onto the pinky toe side of the foot. I'm going to fold here. So still working into the hamstrings, but we're coming from a different angle now. So we're on the pinky toe side of the foot. We've got external rotation, and you'll feel that accessing in a whole new area. And you might even feel it change the pressure in the lower back and the glutes. Just notice what you notice. And then we'll lift that foot up and we'll internally rotate. Most of us are pretty crap at internal rotation. Most of us can do external rotation pretty well. Internal rotation is pretty tough. So as much as you can, but we want to try to get that foot angled in and with that big toe pressing down. And so you're going to feel this in a whole new line of the body. cool. And keep lengthening out through the crown. And then lift up that foot and come on up. And let's switch it over to the other side. So once again, the foot's going to come up onto the bench or onto the chair. But as I said, if it's on a chair, it needs to be something stable. Even pressed up against a wall is good, so that way it's not going to move anywhere. And so we're just taking a little lean forward. We want a little squeeze into that hip flexor. Want to suss out how the hips are feeling. And this is going to give you a bit of a stretch in the butt as well. Maybe the lower back. Keep the spine nice and long. Excellent. And then we're going to take it into our hamstring stretch. So again, foot up and onto the chair. A little point of the toe, a little flex of the toe. So just a little bit of ankle mobility. I always like to work the feet and ankles. I feel like they're often neglected. So flex the toes back towards you to start with. Up nice and tall, square your hips, make them nice and even, and then just take a little lean forward. And that could be plenty. Or you might be able to come down a little deeper, keep reaching the crown of the head long. You want to pull the belly in slightly. That's going to help to protect the lower back. And then from there, you're going to press the toes towards the floor or towards the surface, and that's going to stretch out the top of the foot. It's also going to deepen that hamstring stretch as well. And keep reaching the crown of the head long. Awesome. And then lift it up. And we're going to externally rotate. So turn that pinky toe side out to the left side. We want to try to bring the side of the foot all the way to the surface. And it's going to activate into that outside seam of the leg. And again, we fold forward. Just another couple of breaths here. And stretching is one of those things that we often sort of rush through or skip altogether. And it's something that will give you so much more benefit in other areas of your life. Lift the toes towards the sky and then internally rotate. This one's always the tough one. So stretching can just make our bodies just more comfortable. And given that your body's where you live and you're not getting another one, you may as well make it as comfortable and as functioning as you possibly can. And keep pressing that big toe down towards the surface. Lovely. And we're going to lift it up. And slowly come on out. And we'll just take another little fold. So I'm going to turn my chair around, use the back of the chair. I'm just going to walk it out and just feel what's going on. Feel the hamstrings, feel the glutes, feel the lower back. And if I feel I've got a little bit more room, just fold down all the way to the floor. I feel like that's really opened up. That's nice. But if you're ever in these folds, make sure that you let your neck go. And then soften the knees and roll all the way up. Excellent. And just feel how that feels. We're going for time. Don't want to run out of time. Okay, so let's come into a standing pigeon. I feel like this is one especially where people often get a twinge in their back because so much is going on. We've got hips and glutes and lower backs and all sorts of stuff happening. So a couple of options. Option number one, we come down when we sit and we take our ankle across. Plenty. This is plenty. That's your option one. It's another option just to sit on the side of your chair and hold your foot up. So this one's even a little bit easier. That foot's a little bit lower than the knee. And so we're still going to get a little bit of a stretch. And we just then can play with where we've got our weight and rocking the hips around. And that's going to give us a whole new sensation. The other option is to take it up and onto a bench. I'm going to use the bar, but as I said, the bar's quite high. You might want to use a bench that's a little bit lower. So we're taking foot across, knee across. And then we don't need to be rigid here. We can sort of play around and feel into that hip joint. And notice what happens when we move our weight around, where we find that stretch. It might be nice to have the foot off so that the calf is supported, but the foot isn't pressing down. You might find that's a little easier on your knee if you've got any kind of tightness there, into the hips, of course, as well. And just feel what's happening here. A couple little rocks. So for me, this is still a really great glute stretch, but nowhere near as strong as when I'm on the floor and all my weight is bearing down on it. This way there's not so much weight in the leg at all. Great. And we'll slowly take that down. Yeah, great. I can feel it. It's good. And then let's take it to the other side. So whatever option you chose, whether it was sitting on the chair, leg up on the bench, however you wanted to do. And then just have a little feel. Let's start my foot up there. And so just a little rock around, little circles. And that's just going to take the weight, and it gets you into a bit of hip rotation, so a little bit of moving the head of the femur in the hip joint. Gives you an idea of your range of motion, but also of where it's tight. So you might find a spot that's a little bit sticky and choose to stay there and explore it a little bit. Sort of get into there and rock side to side. So as long as there's nothing sharp, no sharp or electrical kind of pain, if it's just sort of muscle tightness, stiffness, it can be a fun way just to explore, get to know what's going on in your body. And then take the foot off. Yeah, that's nice. Excellent. Cool. Okay, and slowly come on down. And do one more little sequence. And we're going to do this one on the floor. So you're going to come down to lie down. And you're going to wrap your right foot. And we've got to start with the right foot here because there's a little twist at the end. So we need to make sure that we're looking after ascending colon. And then we do the left side for the descending colon. So we just need to make sure that we've definitely got our right foot. And I know that on these videos, sometimes they flip the image, but trust me, this is my right side. So we lay down. The strap is around the ball of the foot. And we can start just with a little point and flex here, just to remind us to activate all the way down that leg. And you're just gently pulling on the straps. And you're going to draw that leg in towards you. Now, if your hamstrings are really tight, you're going to bend up that left knee. And you'll still get that lovely stretch all the way down the back without it being too intense. And if it's okay to extend that leg, then please do that. And so this is a really great release. Obviously hamstrings, but when we've got tight hamstrings, we've often got sore lower backs. So this is a great one. And this is one that you can spend a lot more time in if you've got the time. And then take both straps into your right hand. Take your left arm out to a T, so that's going to anchor you. And then let the leg come out to the side. Now, I often see people in class with their foot all the way onto the floor. That's no good. If you can get your foot all the way down there, you could probably bring it up a little bit closer to your ear. And that way you're going to get our target muscles, all those inner thigh muscles, all our adductors. And giving them a good stretch. Another breath here. And then we'll bring that leg back to center. Switch the hands. So a couple of options here. We can take the leg just across and keep both of our butt cheeks grounded. And that's going to give a little stretch into the outside of the thigh and the IT band into the hip. Or we can lift the bum up and let the leg come all the way across. And this is much more of a spinal twist. But I'm also feeling it in the glutes. So reaching back with the right hand, looking over the right shoulder, so the leg's moving the opposite way to what the upper body is going. And that's our rotation, that's our spinal twist. And that gives us a little realignment after all our stretching. Oh, click, click, nice. Take a deep breath in. And a long breath out. And then use the next in-breath to bring you back to center. And just take a second. Send that leg long, feel the difference. It's not unusual to feel like you've gained an inch or two in that leg that you've just stretched. So we need to even that up. And we'll take our strap around our left foot. And then again, a little flex and a little point. So just activating, using that little movement to activate the entire back of the leg. And then keeping a little point, so like a Barbie doll foot, and then draw it back towards you. She lives in demi-point, Barbie, always walking on the balls of her feet. And so draw that leg back towards you. And then just relax into it. So you feel the earth underneath you. You want to relax the shoulders down and back. So even though we're holding on, the shoulders are still relaxed. Couple more breaths here. And then take both straps into the left hand, right arm out to a T, draw that leg towards you and then let it come out to the side. So we're going for that stretch all the way up the inner seam of the leg. Now's a good time to notice your breath. We want to see when we're in these poses if we can deepen our breath and extend our exhalation and bring us a little more into that relaxation mode. And slowly come back to center and switch hands. So right hand grabs the hold, left arm out to a T, and then your options are to keep your butt on the floor and just draw the leg just slightly across the body or get that stretch into the IT band, or otherwise lift up that left glute, take the eyes back over that left side, anchor down that left shoulder, and then you've got the thoracic spine and the lumbar spine moving in opposite directions, and that gives us that sense of twisting like you're wringing out a wet sponge. And keep that leg lifting. It's not touching the floor. Don't let it come all the way over. If it comes all the way over, lift it a little higher. And take an inhale here. And then an exhale. And then use an inhale to bring you back. And exhale to take you long. And just lie down for a moment. Palms face up. And just noticing how the body feels on the floor. Notice the length in the body. Notice too if there's any areas that are still gripping. And just try and encourage them to release. And you could stay here for a while if you've got the time. And you can slowly come on up.